later, having lupus and again, flipping the script, right? It was just like, if I continue to define myself by how sick I am, I won't be anything else.
Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Lindsie, and today's episode is one of those conversations that stays with you because it's about more than a diagnosis. It's about identity, grief, resilience, and what it looks like to rebuild your life one choice at a time. My guest today is Annie Toro Lopez, a cookbook author, chronic illness advocate, and a powerful voice in the celiac and autoimmune community. Annie was diagnosed with lupus, SLE, in her 20s, and after years of navigating autoimmune challenges, she reached a milestone many people don't even know is possible, a negative ANA after 20 years. Then in 2023, after the heartbreaking loss of her sister and her best friend, Annie was diagnosed with celiac disease, and she transformed that season into something that now supports thousands of people. Her second cookbook, Simply Gluten-Free, Real Ingredients for Everyday Life, is all about approachable, nourishing recipes that help you reclaim confidence and joy in the kitchen, even when food feels complicated. In this episode, Annie and I talk about what it's like to be dismissed and how the right provider can change everything, the emotional reality of autoimmune illness, motherhood, and nervous system survival, the role of trauma, therapy, and mindset in healing, how a diagnosis can shake your identity and how to rebuild it, and why community might be one of the most underrated treatments we have. This conversation includes discussion of trauma and grief, so please take care of yourself as you listen. And just as a reminder, the content shared on PCOS Unfiltered is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are not intended to serve as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or treatment plan. The information shared is based on personal experience and expert interviews and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance. If you've ever felt like your diagnosis stole your identity, this one is for you. Here's my conversation with Annie Toro Lopez.
One of the reasons it's taken me so long to talk about this is because I've never wanted to come from a place of victim blaming. I don't ever want people to feel like, well, if I can't do that, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Because that is not the case. It's a tough disease. They're all of our autoimmune diseases are, and of course they affect, again, women more than men, because society tells us that the messages that we get and the way that we talk to ourselves. I mean, and that's a really, I think that's really what I've thought about so much is people tell me a lot that, oh, you're so resilient, right? And I think people throw that word around a lot. And it's an important word. It is an important word.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really had to do then was dig deep, right? And think, well, what does that even mean? Like, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis to be resilient? Like resilience is just sort of this like umbrella thing, right? But what have I done? What does that even mean? And I remember, I have had after being sexually abused and then I got married. I went to college to get the MRS because that's what you went for in my day. And so I did, and I got married and I moved to San Diego. I was 20 years old. And I was agoraphobic. I lived in my apartment. I was too afraid to leave. I would lie to my husband to tell him that I left because I was so ashamed. I didn't have words like anxiety. I didn't even have those words at that time, or panic or any of that. And I didn't understand why. Like, why am I going out and why am I in San Diego, right? Oh my God.
So much. Yeah. There's so much to do. And
on all the things, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't leave my apartment. I would get my mail and I would have a panic attack. And I remember being in the apartment and looking down at the cat next door and really literally telling myself, you either need to get out of here, you need to dig deep, figure it out how to get out of here and go find a job for yourself, or you need to go and check yourself into the nearest hospital because you're not fun. This is, and I remember like, again, that conversation, just like I had with my immune system, right? I remember like that literal conversation. So I went out, I don't know if you're familiar with San Diego, I went to Seaport Village because it was so beautiful. And I thought, oh, I could do this. And there's this really cool coffee shop and bookstore before those were a thing called Upstart Crow. And I was like, I want to work at Upstart Crow. So I filled out an application there. And then I did like the general application for, and all the thing, all that. So I got a call and which is one of the general shops in the mall, right? And I got there and it was a clown shop. And I hate clowns. Like when I was 4, my parents had to take me out of the Barnum and Bailey circus because I was throwing a screaming fit because I was so afraid of the clowns. So I was like, this is dark humor. Like this is the universe just laughing at me. Finally got out of my house into a clown shop. But a few days later, I got a call from Walden Books. And so I was like, oh, yes, that I'll do. My degree is in English. So like, yeah, right. So I was like, oh, that I can do. So anyway, eventually I became a manager for Walden Books. And I wasn't stuck in the clown shop for but it was, but that really was about talking myself through it, right? The voice in your head and like changing that voice in your head from, the things that stop you and the things that terrify you and that come from inside that, of course, I didn't understand at all. Like I didn't understand. I was living in a place where I felt unsafe. We moved into an apartment that was disputed gang territory.
Oh my gosh.
So it was legitimately not safe. Like it wasn't just like I was making it up in my head, but then at the same time, like I still couldn't, it paralyzed me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then later, having lupus and again, flipping the script, right? It was just like, if I continue to define myself by how sick I am, I won't be anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was a huge, and then later having celiac, when I found out that I had celiac. So in the spring of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
I was in first, well, I was in first place in a national cooking competition hosted by Chef Carla Hall and then to benefit the James Beard Foundation. And I was in first place in my group, not in the whole competition because it was, they reduced. And my best friend died from pancreatic cancer, one of my lifelong friends that I'd known since I was 13. And then 6 days later, my sister died from a fall. And 3 weeks later, and I was scheduled for a endoscopy to figure out what the heck was going on. I was so sick. I was so sick. And to figure out, because I'd been off the couch and I'm not exaggerating when I say like 2 years. It was ridiculously, and I'd had it longer, but by this time I was like, I was not in good shape. So, I had I had an endoscopy scheduled and I had to call and reschedule because my sister was dying. Like I was at, we're at hospice. So, when I got back, obviously, then eventually I had that done and was diagnosed with celiac. And I'm a food writer. So it was like losing my whole identity. I was it was a very dark time. It was so hard because I was already grieving, right? And I couldn't continue with the competition. Like I had all my menu planned, I had all the things, and then I had to like purge my kitchen. Like I had to get rid of everything, all my cookie cutters from holidays with my kids. I threw those away and I regret that, but I was just my frame of mind at that point. And later I was like, I guess I could have given them to my daughter. I gave her a lot of stuff. She got all the things. She had just moved into her apartment. So like she got all the things. So she, but yeah. And I remember, but I got rid of everything. And I cried when I got rid of my cascatelli. And if you're a fan of Dan Pashman and the Spork Bowl, which is my favorite podcast, the Spork Bowl is a food podcast. He says it's not for foodies, it's for eaters. Little plug for the Spork Bowl there. But he invented a new pasta shape. It was so cool. And he did it. He covered the whole thing and it was so much fun. And my daughter got it for me for Christmas. And it was just so sweet because she knew it's like my favorite podcast and all the things. And so it really meant a lot to me. And I had to get rid of it. I gave it to my daughter, of course, but still I was like, no, it was hard. It was really hard. And part of what we do, like my husband and I, for like fun, is we go try new restaurants and we go to like really like the little hole in the walls. And they always say like my superpower is finding locally owned, really great food, right? When we travel. Yeah. So it was really identity loosening for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it also, I think, demonstrates, like I said, I feel like there's so much that our listeners can relate to. It's just the journey because, we live in such a world where we want the quick fix, but it just does not work like that. Right. And so, yes, you went through a really hard time in a lot of ways. And, now you've had to readjust, but it's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint, kind of that cliche, but it's true. There is not going to be the instant fix,
Absolutely.
So whether it's, working with your mind, like like you did in the visualization part. I mean, I've had a number of other things that people can use on, on my podcast to help them along that. And you also mentioned how you use that to complement what you were doing, with traditional medicine. You still had your doctor and your doctor was open to you using these other methods to also complement what they were doing. And I think that's, that's amazing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky that way. I think I really did luck into her. Like that was really, very, very fortunate because she was such an incredible always. And we had her like, she was my doctor for 25 years and we had our babies together. Like our babies were the same age. So we were both pregnant at the same time. But it was a journey together. And I appreciate her for that a lot. I think, when after I found out I had lupus, after I found out I had celiac, and I had lost my people. Yeah. Like my friend was an RN. So she would have been the person that I would have called and said, hey, like, what's going on? Right.
Yeah.
And then my sister was my sister. Right. Yeah. So I really had lost my people and I found myself very lonely. And, there's a loneliness epidemic, of course, right? We're in a loneliness epidemic that began before the pandemic, but has gotten worse. And now, of course, with the craziness, it's even worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, so I joined a celiac group on Facebook and they were, that was really, it was helpful. But someone in that group had said, had suggested a group that she thought I might like for women over 50. Okay. So I joined that group and that was really good because, I'm over 50 and it's a different world. It really is. And when you're raising your kids it's just different. And so that was really nice too. That was really cool, but it still was like not connection, not like, person to person or in person, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Connection. And so I started my own group. I started, at first it was sort of an offshoot of that group. But that group was formed by a very well-known organization that supports people over 50. And they wanted us to become, so that our group caught on. I was very visible. Because I have celiac, I started I would make events. I would schedule events through the group in Facebook, which grew to like 150 people, like overnight, literally. And I'm like, a lot of people need this. And so I would create an event in a place where I knew that I could like actually have something too as a celiac. So I would call ahead or whatever. And here in Colorado, there's actually a lot of options, but um, and some of them there would just be a couple of people, and I just kept doing it. And I chose one day a week, and we go all different places at all different times, but this day stays the same. And at first, it might have just been a few. Now we have 12 to 15 people regularly. We always laugh that we've never had the same group twice because sometimes we'll have new people or, and we meet every week. And I set it up for every week instead of once a month because to alleviate loneliness, if we did it once a month, if you miss one, you don't like it's 8 weeks before you get to connect. So, we've been now it's together for 2 years, and it's such a great group. And at first I was doing it all myself, but now I have 3 other admin because needed that. I needed that then. So now we have more than 500 women.
Wow.
And it's growing all the time. And so we're the Denver area women's network. If you're in the Denver area, at Dawn, DAWN on Facebook, and join us. We're fun. And we're agendaless. We don't have, we pretty much, I will say we mostly politically align, but it's a friendship group. It's too, and a lot of us, so many of us are women who've been giving all our lives, right? Well, we all as women give, but, nurses and teachers and, people who are social workers and therapists and people who are giving people. And so it's really a place for us. We say it's a place for us to come and, refill. So we just get together and talk about whatever. And it's That's nice. Awesome. It gets big. Like we get 12 to 15 is a lot, but it's getting where we have a harder time like finding a place to meet, right?
Coffee shops.
Yeah. The coffee shops, we take them over. So it's a lot. Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, And I mean, I'm in, and that kind of, I feel like talks, like you mentioned, the victim, hood mentality too, because I'm in a few PCOS groups myself. And I get frustrated sometimes because you see a lot of that, and then one person, posts, this diagnosis sucks and everything sucks and, and X, Y, and Z is going on and my relationship with my, partner is bad, whatever it is. And then everybody else just feeds off of that. And it's very unfortunate because that's not helping their diagnosis, helping their healing, helping, mentally, physically, all of it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what you're doing with that is amazing. It's just giving them that outlet to, whether it is to talk about their diagnosis or just to know that they have the women there and they can still talk about whatever they want and hang out and have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I think that, we've talked about too, just you need the energy, you can't pour from an empty vessel, right? Is what we say. And you've got to have that refill place. You've got to have, and so many of us don't and that was for me where it was like, I just had to create my own, like I needed that and I didn't know how to get it any other way. And I tried different things. Like I tried going to other groups but there was always the agenda gets in the way. And not that there's anything wrong with like agenda groups, like, there's some great groups out there, Rotary and, things that do good for other people. And those are important. But this was a place that doesn't, and we adopt a family at Christmas and we do, so we do food drives and that kind of stuff, but that's not like that's not what we don't exist as a philanthropic group. But we do philanthropic things. Yeah. So
that's great. Yeah.
I
want to talk to you because, you mentioned about, when your celiac diagnosis, which again, I wasn't diagnosed at the time, but I did end up testing. I had some genetic testing because I'd already eliminated gluten. So I more than likely could have been diagnosed with celiac probably at the time. like, so like I said, our story is just aligned.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you kind of touched on your identity, and kind of how that changed along with it. And I think that's super important to talk about too, because yes, like for me, it was the same, same thing. I eliminated gluten, had no
Mhm.
problem doing that, which I understand a lot of people can't. Um, but felt better, felt amazing. Then there's still always something, right? Like, I end up having oatmeal, and that was causing me to flare
Oh,
up just like gluten did, So
yes,
I
I
started learning about
know.
all these other foods that could still act like that. But
Yeah.
it's really propelled me forward. I mean, it's really between the lupus and the celiac, well, like I said, gluten celiac diagnosis, but it's why I do what I do today,
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely.
And like I cook everything now, and I love it. I didn't really cook much before. I
Yeah.
actually I actually just started making gluten-free sourdough bread.
Oh, yay. Good for
So
you.
that's been very it's a new hobby now.
Good for you. Yeah, I think
So
sourdough, like people really enjoy that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
Okay.
gotta make like the crackers and the other things with it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome because you'll have all the
Yeah.
and the pancakes. It makes really good
Yes,
pancakes.
yeah,
Yep,
yep.
yep,
But
yep.
yeah, I mean, I think it just shows, okay, so we were handed, this diagnosis, but you
Yeah.
still, you make lemonade out of lemons, right? Like,
Yeah, when you have to
you
live
can
life
still,
and for
yeah,
yourself and the people around you, right? Like,
yeah,
and it's hard. It can be very hard, but it
mhm,
also, it takes that you have to talk yourself through it
exactly.
sometimes.
Yes.
And like even well, we had a party to go to, right? A holiday party, and sometimes I just don't have the spoons, like it's just
Hmm.
and sometimes I'll cancel things. I'm like, and my friends understand, and I'll just straight up say, like, I don't have the spoons for this. But we had a holiday party and it wasn't optional for us. And I my husband was like, are you okay? Because I was like, I just don't feel good. I'm tired and my body aches. And so I just kind of went away for a little while and then he's like, how are you doing? And I was like, I talked myself through it and it's fine. Like I'll show up. I'll have a great time. I love these
Hmm.
people. Like, I really focused on those sorts of things instead of how bad I felt.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not always easy, but it's always worth it, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And for as far as like identity, I mean that's a g- I th I understand what you're saying because I think, and as again as a food writer, like I had published a cookbook. My first cookbook was done through a grant, and I did it. It's a Southern Colorado green chili cookbook.
Hmm.
So, my husband is Indigenous Native, so green chili is a really, really big part of his culture. And so it was sort of a way to honor that. And so I went down to Southern Colorado, and there's a very large population of Indigenous Native people in Southern Colorado and of course Northern New Mexico who would argue that they have the best green chili, but they're wrong. So so I went and did I as a way to like gather stories and recipes from that culture. And so I published it's called Huerfanos Happy Hearts, and it's a green chili cookbook with stories. So I knew I wanted to publish another cookbook and I come from a food background and food writing. So it kind of, was like, well, I guess that's what I need to do, right? And so what I realized was when I went out and looked and was doing research for the cookbook, I realized that 90% of gluten-free cookbooks are for baking.
Mm,
And what I really found was that people were like, I don't know how to feed myself. That's where I was. I was like, I lived on a
yeah,
bars for a month because I was like,
yeah,
I can't have oatmeal. Same. Cried over a
yeah.
bowl of oatmeal one day, just like really cried. I was just like, I
Yeah.
can't, really, like
Hmm.
really. And I so I wrote another cookbook. I and it's food. It's not baking. I was a middle school teacher, so I taught middle school literacy and social studies for about 10 years. And what really, really like hurt me was when I would hear parents say, my 14-year-old or my 17-year-old or my 6-year-old was just diagnosed with celiac, and I don't know how to feed them and feed my family and not have to make 2 meals and not have to. And what I realized, that what really brought me out of my grief and my kind of almost, I guess, despondency was gratitude. Because I realized that I can handle, like I handle food. I'm a cook, I'm a home chef, I'm a food writer. I can handle food.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
So that was so this is my so I did write a cookbook.
Yes. I'll link it in the
Yeah,
show notes
so
too.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my cover designer is amazing. So, and this is the interiors that you can see.
Wow.
And let's see. And I did I did appetizers and sauces. So appetizers, salads, sauces, seasonings, sides, entrees, and sweets.
Wow.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Everything you
Yeah.
need. And
Yeah.
so like here's like one of my it's so good. That's my daughter's favorite. That's one of my daughter's favorite. I'm just leaving. So I did, here's you've got a recipe for ketchup,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
mustard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, not that you can't find those things gluten-free because you can, but it is sometimes a search and it's sometimes just nice to have things fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so my green chili recipe is in here. And I also have a recipe here for chicken enchiladas. And I just want you to know, for any of
Ooh.
your Schitt's Creek fans, that it does say to fold in the cheese. And if you love Schitt's Creek, you'll get that. We still we laugh about that in our family. So anyway, but it's ribs. There's a recipe
Yeah.
for ribs. Like
Yeah.
really food that you can feed your family and that everybody will love and no one will even
Mm-hmm.
question it.
Yeah.
And there's appetizers to take to the friend's house for the football game. Those were the
Mm-hmm.
things that I really found that people were lacking,
Yeah.
So it's been very well received. Marketing's not my favorite thing in the world to do, although I love doing this. This doesn't feel like marketing. This to me is just, connecting with people but we did a book tour and it was super fun. So we
That's awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. It wore me out though. Speaking of not having the spoons, man, I came back and I was like, I slept for days.
Oh.
I was worn out. We
Yeah.
travel in our fifth wheel. It's a lot
Wow.
easier. Yeah. Cause then I have my own kitchen.
Nice.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
I
a
know it's
difference.
whenever we travel, like if we can, if especially if we're at a place for a while, we get a place with a kitchen, so whether it's an Airbnb or like a residence inn or, yeah, we have a motorhome ourselves. And we
Yeah.
did a cross country trip last year.
Oh,
And
how
this is
fun.
yeah, this has just, become who I am. So I was like a mad woman in the kitchen for like almost 3 days probably. And I prepped all kinds of stuff. And I made a lasagna, I made a meatloaf, I made chili, and then I froze individual packages. And we didn't have to eat out hardly at all.
Which
I
makes it
knew,
so much
yeah,
better.
yeah, I packaged them
And you don't
individually
want
so
to
we
be
could put them in
sick
the
when you're
freezer.
traveling.
No,
Yeah.
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 So
The
did
way
it
to
take
go, man.
extra effort? Yes. But
It
I
does.
know,
It does.
I've learned to prioritize my health and
Exactly.
I'm blessed
Yeah.
because I have a husband that's fully supports all that too. He's kind of naturally
Yeah.
gluten-free now too. But
Yeah. Yeah. My husband is very supportive of
yeah.
it, and my
Yeah.
family and my
Yeah.
friends. When I hear about people who are like, people shame them or, oh my God, like slip in gluten or something like that. Like,
Hmm.
how crazy is that? Like, why,
Yeah.
how could you do that to someone? Or, oh, it's not that big of a deal, or you're just
Like they
making
don't
too much of it,
realize.
or,
Hmm.
you can have some.
Yeah.
And I feel so fortunate because I don't have that in my life.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
closest friend who I met through my Dawn group, um, she's a registered dietitian and a therapist. So she's like,
Oh
she
wow.
gets it. Like, no,
Yeah.
no problem. And my husband, and my daughter, like they protect me. They don't, they would never like try to sabotage or they
Yeah.
like my husband, when he takes my car and if he eats in my car, and sometimes he does, he wipes it all down. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, for
And I feel
sure.
fortunate. Yeah, I feel very
Yeah.
fortunate for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was an amazing conversation,
I
and
appreciate it so much.
I
Thank you.
think,
What a
yeah, I
great,
think
yeah,
so much
opportunity.
good
I really appreciate
information.
it. I hope,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And again, I just want people to, know that there's more hope than I think that the medical community hands them.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it was only recently really that I've had a couple of doctors, I mean, alternative practitioners, of course, but like medical doctors who,
Hmm.
I finally had a cardiologist when I told her that I reversed my lupus. She just looked at me and she said, "Congratulations." Like, not like, no, you didn't. It's just, it'll be back, or, that doesn't happen, or you really can't, or whatever.
Yeah.
She just said, good for you.
Yeah.
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 And I
Yeah.
appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we definitely need more practitioners
We
like
need
that for sure.
so much, right? So much.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you mentioned your cookbook. I'll
Yeah.
link everything in the show notes too, but what are some
Yes,
other
yes,
ways that
thank
somebody can
you.
find you and connect with you?
So actually, we are this close to I have AnnieToroLopez.com, and that will have my podcast interviews. It will have, a link to my cookbook. Right now you can get it anywhere books are sold. So if you go to
Okay.
your bookstore and you ask, there might be other things close to the title. So it's simply gluten-free, real ingredients for everyday life. And then also the publisher is High Prairie Press. So you can go to highprairiepress.org and order it there. But soon you can just go to AnnieToroLopez.com and you'll be able to get it there. And then also you can access I write with Substack. So like I tell that story about my friend being shot and killed
Mhm.
when I was 11, and I tell some of the stories. I haven't been super active there lately, um, but I mean, it was on book tour. So, but yeah, so you'll be able to get all of that there. You'll be able to book me for podcasts, to book me for live events, to speak. So yeah, that'll all be right there.
Awesome.
So
Great.
yeah,
Love it.
thank
Love
you
it. Thank
so
you.
much, Lindsay. This was so nice. I
Yes.
really
Yes.
appreciate it. And I
Thank
hope your
you.
listeners take some hope away from it.
Yes. Wow. This conversation with Annie was so meaningful because it held the full picture, the medical side, the emotional side, and the human side. Here are a few takeaways I hope you carry with you. You are not too much for needing answers. Being persistent about your symptoms is not being dramatic, it's being wise. Healing is really one thing. Annie's story is a reminder that it can be medical care, plus mindset, plus nervous system work, plus support, plus time. A diagnosis can feel like it steals your identity, but it can also become the beginning of a new relationship with yourself, one rooted in worth, agency, and possibility. And community matters. Loneliness keeps people stuck. Connection helps people move. Annie also shared something I really loved. She didn't just wish for community, she built it. And if you're listening thinking, I don't have my people right now, let that be your permission to start small. One message, one meetup, one safe person. If you want to connect with Annie, I'm going to link everything in the show notes, her cookbook, Simply Gluten-Free, Real Ingredients for Everyday Life, and her website, AnnieToroLopez.com. She mentioned it's launching soon with links for booking, podcast interviews, and more. She also writes on Substack, and we'll include that too. And if this episode encouraged you, the best way to support the show is to leave a rating and a review and share it with someone who needs hope that healing is still possible, even if it's messy and nonlinear. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next episode of PCOS Unfiltered. Nourish, Heal, Thrive.